Mr Speaker, in the past 2 months, Britain has been hit by truly exceptional weather. This has been the wettest January in over 200 years, and the severe weather is set to continue. From extra pumps and sandbags to military support and emergency funds, the Government is committed to providing all the practical support and assistance that is needed. Overnight, a severe storm with winds recorded at over 100 miles per hour added further to the disruption of the transport network, with the railway network particularly badly affected and some motorways closed due to wind speeds. Both Network Rail and the Highways Agency have been working through the night to address the damage caused, clearing scores of trees from block lines, removing debris from the carriageways and tracks, and repairing overhead wires. Let me take this opportunity to thank all those people for their dedication and hard work in the most trying of circumstances, and also express my sympathy to all those who were affected by bad weather as a result of the repair work overnight. I can provide the following updates for those parts of the transport network affected by the storm. On the rail network, the West Coast Main Line is open apart from the spur through to Runcorn to Liverpool, which is expected to be back in service later on this morning. Most of the East Coast Line is open. Continued work on overhead line damage north of York is placing limits on the service, and trains are expected to run at 80 miles an hour between Newcastle and the Scottish borders until midday. The Welsh routes of Fishguard and Aberystwyth are currently closed as engineers work to clear scores of downed trees. On the roads, with a few isolated exceptions, we have kept England motorways and major A roads running through this unprecedented level of severe weather. Whilst the hard work of engineers has mitigated the worst effects of the storm, there is no doubt that the transport network has taken a battering over the past week. In Dawlish, work continues apace to mend the route between London and the South West. During my visit on Friday, I met with South West MPs, council and business leaders to assess the impact of the severe weather on the region's transport network and economy. That followed a briefing with local South West MPs held here in the House last Wednesday. The collapsed wall has been shored up with material salvaged from the damaged section. A temporary breakwater made of shipping containers and filled with rubble has been erected off the coast. Removal of the damaged platform continues, and work is estimated to be completed by March 18th. At Maidenhead, the water table is currently 20 metres higher than it would normally be at this time of the year. That has damaged the signalling and has had serious effect on the ability of Network Rail to run trains, with only roughly a fifth of the services currently running between Reading and Paddington. Network Rail are working urgently to assess the timescale to repair the signalling. The M2 in Kent is now partially reopened in both directions, with repairs ongoing to the hole in the central reservation. Whilst we deal with the immediate fallout of weather conditions, my department has announced measures which I believe will make a real impact on the ground. These measures include a £61 million funding for projects to help repair damaged roads and build greater resilience into our railway network. Yesterday, the Government announced funding worth £31 million to pay for rail resilience projects, which include money to continue the vital work at Cowley Bridge in Exeter to improve resilience in flooding. In addition, a further £30 million has been found for local authorities in England affected by the severe weather for road maintenance, including pothole repairs. This is on top of the £3.5 million element of the £7 million flood recovery package announced by the Government on the 17th of January. And because we recognise the importance of tourism to the South West, and at the time of half-term week, we worked with the airline Flybe to enable it to double its daily flights between Newquay and London Gatwick. It will increase the number of flights from 3 to 6 per weekday, providing over 4,500 additional seats each week. Flybe has also agreed to keep the price levels at the same as before the weather disruption, ensuring that hard-working families were not penalised by the impact of weather on their travel plans. On Monday this week, the Prime Minister also announced a government subsidy to allow Newquay Airport to waive its £5 airport development fee usually charged for those departing from the airport. Together, this package is helping keeping the South West open for business during these difficult times. In addition, the rail operator First Great Western has put in place a special ticketing arrangement so that rail passengers who are affected by the flood disruption do not miss out on the cheaper advance fares while revised timetables are put in place. This means that passengers will receive a 25% discount on walk-up fares for their journeys that cross the Dawlish Gap. First Great Western has also ordered hundreds of extra buses to provide alternative transport while that track is repaired. Although these are unprecedented conditions, punctuality, particularly in the severity and sustained nature, it is important we ensure our network is resilient in the long term to threats of this nature. The Department of Transport already works very closely with other government departments, local authorities and other transport operators, and the wider sector in respect of resilience on the transport system, and resilience to extreme weather and climate change also form part of our capital maintenance programme. The Government has asked the industry to build climate resilience into its plans for railway investment for the period between 2014 and 2019, and the industry has responded by introducing more specialised equipment and trains that treat rails and clear ice and snow or compacted leaves. We have embarked on one of the biggest programmes of rail modernisation ever. Over the next 5 years, more than £38 billion is being spent to improve and maintain our railways. Network Rail is developing strategies for securing the long-term resilience of the railways, and I have asked the Office of the Rail Regulator has asked the Office of the Rail Regulator for nearly £500 million to invest in resilience projects. On the roads, the Highways Agency has assessed the potential risks that climate change poses to the ongoing operation and improvements of the strategic road network and taken action to mitigate the spending is a huge amount of a year on maintenance and renewal. Funding for local road maintenance has increased by £650 million in this Parliament, and that figure will increase by a further £500 million to £4.9 billion between 2015 and 2020. Mr. Speaker, as the Prime Minister said yesterday, we are in for a long haul. I will, of course, continue to keep the House updated, but I would at this stage, Mr. Speaker, as I'm sure every member of the House would like to do, is to pay tribute to all those tens of thousands of people who are at the moment doing their utmost to provide services, sometimes in very dangerous conditions, but also trying to do the very best for the travelling public, and we do owe them a great debt of gratitude.